Well, welcome to this week's Lanzarote news, and we're going to do something slightly differently this week. We'll do the news as we always do for you from the last 7 days. But right at the end of this video, we'll give you 3 things that are happening next week that I think might be interesting if you're on the island to go and enjoy. But first of all, let's crack on with the news. Those of you who visit Costa Teguise regularly will have noticed that there are some nasty nifs in the area of Playa Jablillo, and there are a couple of sewage pumping stations there that have been emitting some pretty horrible smells over the last few months. And the good news is that they are now those 2 stations are now going to be fully refurbed at a cost of €2 million. Just in case anyone has a misconception about this, these don't pump sewage out to sea. They pump sewage to the sewage works up the hill in the area of Arrecife, and that's where the water gets treated, and then it's used quite often as black water on gardens and golf courses after treatment. Now, you may know that last week we had the culmination of Fiesta del Carmen in Puerto del Carmen, and there's always a fun fair there through that fiesta period down in the old harbour area. And what happens at this time of year, and it happened last weekend, is that fun fair moves to Arrecife, to the Recinto Ferial there, which is the fairground, if you like, in Arrecife, close to the Cabildo, and is there for the whole of the month of August for Fiesta de San Gines. The fair moved, as it should have done, to Arrecife on Monday and opened up, but some health and safety people went along to check some things out, and they found, there's no specification on this, but deficiencies in some of the rides there. So they called the local police, the Policia Local, who came along and actually taped off the fair and closed them down. The close down was only for about 24 hours because those deficiencies were then put right and the fair reopened as normal for everyone, and it will be running there all through the month of August. Pedro Sanchez, who is the Prime Minister of Spain, or the President of the Government of Spain, has arrived on the island for his annual holiday with his family. He always stays at La Mareta, which is the former house of the King of Spain and is reserved for visiting dignitaries. So far, the family have just been very quietly enjoying the early part of their break here in Lanzarote, but based on their previous visits last year, they will probably be out and about this weekend, so keep an eye out for them. We have the information about the sign-ups for the craft fair in Mancha Blanca, and the craft fair there takes place around the Romeria de los Dolores, which is the annual pilgrimage we all do to Los Dolores to thank the saint for stopping the lava flow during the Timanfaya eruptions. Accompanied with that is a craft fair that runs from the 10th to the 15th of September, and apparently 120 artisans from all around the Canaries have decided to exhibit this year, and it's a fantastic event to go and see because you'll see artisans making their stuff, you'll see some beautiful things on display, and you'll have the opportunity to buy them as well. So even if you're not taking part in the pilgrimage, do make a note if you're here on the 10th to the 15th of September to go along to Mancha Blanca to visit the craft fair. Now, for those of you who use the bus service here regularly, the intercity bus apps have been updated this week, and they now allow you to recharge your bonos and pay for rides with them, which I gather is something that you haven't been able to do up until now. So if you already have the app on your phone, just go ahead and update it. If you don't have it and you want to use the bus service here, just go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and search for Intercity Bus Lanzarote, and you'll be able to download the app, add a credit card and use it to make your payments for travelling on the buses. Timanfaya celebrated its 50th anniversary as a tourist attraction on the island. It was first opened on the 9th of August 1974. It's interesting to note that where the name came from, up until 1974, it was always known locally as the Montañas del Fuego, or the Fire Mountains. And the name was changed to Timanfaya. And actually, Timanfaya was the name of one of the villages that was buried by the lava flow in the big eruptions in 1730 to 1736. So the whole area was renamed Timanfaya in honour of that particular lost village. We had a bizarre story this week involving the Naviera Armas ferry, which is called Ciudad de Valencia. The ferry is the one that runs on the route from Arrecife to Cadiz on the mainland of Spain. And the captain of the ferry was struck by a car that was leaving the ferry when she docked in Arrecife last weekend. He was reasonably badly injured and had to be taken to hospital, where he is now still recovering. The ferry was delayed for 15 hours while they found another captain who could take her out to complete her trip to Cadiz. So our fingers are crossed for the captain of the ferry. Hopefully he's making a good recovery in hospital and will be back at the helm of the Ciudad de Valencia sometime very soon. Now, can I remind you of two things? The first is if you haven't already subscribed, please do so below. And the second is that at the end of the news section, which is coming up very shortly, I'll be giving you 3 things that you could do on the island if you're here next week that I think you might find quite interesting to do. And finally, I love this story. Flamingos have been spotted at the Salinas de Janubio. They are the big salt pans you see from the main road going down to Playa Blanca. And the flamingos love the little pink crustaceans that grow in Salinas, in salt pans all over the world. And I guess that's why they've stopped there. And it's those little crustaceans actually that give flamingos their very distinctive pink colour. What's interesting is that we don't have a huge amount of bird life on the island because it's not a very conducive place with no natural water and not an awful lot of food for birds. But it is somewhere that birds on that migratory path from the European mainland or from the African mainland travelling across the Atlantic, Lanzarote is somewhere, and the Canaries in general, is somewhere that those birds can stop and have a bit of a rest and take on some food and water and so on. And we think that's what's happened in the last week when loads of flamingos were spotted in the Salinas. Well, that's it on the news front for this week, but I promised I would scan our What's On pages and have a look for you at just some interesting and unusual events. I'll try and do 3 each week with this story coming up next week. So if you're coming to the island, or indeed you're already here, you might think, I fancy doing that. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is Fiesta de San Gines, and this is the premier summer festival on the island of Lanzarote, and it all takes place in the capital and it runs all through the month of August. I'm not going to pick out one particular thing that's going on next week, but the fiesta will be going all week. There are literally events going on every single day in Arrecife during the Fiesta de San Gines. I'm just going to take a quick glance at my iPad here because I've got the programme for next week, and it's huge. It would take me 40 minutes to read it all out to you, but let me just pick a few things out for you. There is a musical performance of traditional Cuban music on the beach. There are bouncy castles, there's Zumba, there's summer cinema, there's a book presentation, a concert by El Arabato in again on the beach. There are video games on the giant screen. There is a peasant festival with a show. There is a choreography competition, another concert, and on Sunday there are going to be fireworks. So it just goes on and on and on. There's something every day. So if you're here on the island currently or next week, do go along and have a look at, or have a visit in Arrecife and see what's going on there. We're going down there later today. And the second thing I'm going to tell you about, it actually happening on Saturday. It's a beach rugby competition which takes place again in Arrecife on the main beach there, Playa del Reducto, and that takes place from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. on Saturday, and it's something a bit different. Beach rugby isn't something I've seen here very often in the past. And the final thing I'm going to tell you about that is happening next week is one of the Cenas de una Noche de Verano. These are summer night dinners, and there are 9 of them in total, which are all taking place on the island with the island's top chefs, producing what we call kilometer zero menus, and these are menus using only local ingredients. And next week's is by Chef Gonzalo. And next week's is by Chef Gonzalo Calzadilla, who is the chef at the Isla de Lobos restaurant in the Princesa Yaisa Hotel. And all of these dinners take place in Playa Blanca. They have a set charge of €55, or you can pay a bit more and get wine paired with it. And they're just fantastic. We're booked on one of them later this month. I think there are 4 more to go now. So look out for the summer nights dinners. Now, any of these things that I've been talking about, these events going on next week or beyond, just go to lanzaroteinformation.com and click what's on, and you'll see a whole list of events that you can get more information on and find the websites too and all that kind of stuff. Well, once again, thank you so much for watching our video this week. We really enjoyed producing them for you, and I hope you like the extra bit of 3 things that you could be doing next week on Lanzarote. I've got one favour to ask, please. If you enjoy these videos and you like them, please share this one with somebody you know who is also interested in Lanzarote. Apart from that, thank you once again, and bye for now.